Here's Jack. Here's Jack. Here's Jack. Here's Jack. Here's Jack.
Well, live from the community room of the Cedarburg Public Library in Cedarburg, Wisconsin.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for the clarification. You're all over it.
Yeah, the Cedarburg Library moved from Oostburg a few weeks ago. It's nice. We're actually...
Nothing going on in Oostburg. It's so quiet and calm. It's boring. It's like you're every other Whiteburg now.
That's right. Whiteburg. The other
no
Whiteburg.
Fun.
Oh, my. It's the Jack Henke Show, as if you needed any more indication. 60 minutes or so of infotainment. And a few minutes of commercials, too, because we got to eat. And we have a wonderful show for you today. Halloween edition, as if every week isn't terrifying. But this week is hopefully
Who
doubly
beat the shit out of you? What the hell happened? God, you look terrible.
Actually, Jane, my daughter,
really
slapped that on this morning. Yeah,
did she?
She did. I told her to do her homework, and then boom, you know.
You're like Harry Potter.
I'm not like Harry Potter. I am.
You have the glasses too, with the tape in the middle.
Tape in the middle. I
get it.
This is such a nice.
This is funny.
This is a nice throwback to 6th grade. This is exactly, you know, you're walking down the hall. They knock the
6th grade.
glasses.
You were like that 2 months ago.
That's well, you know.
That's well. That's well.
We have terrific guests.
We do.
One who's phoning in and one who's actually here.
Now, when you say phoning it in, you don't mean she's phoning in. She's not phoning it in.
I'm phoning it in. Like I do every week.
Wow, you're consistent.
So we got Lesley Kagen, a real life writer-like person.
And
yes,
why is there not like a Lesley Kagen Day parade here? She's a New York Times bestseller.
Let's get started.
God's sakes.
All right.
And
you know Cedar. So you want to get this going like on a political level?
What the hell?
Oh well, let's get. You know, it's
come on.
If we start today, the parade will run in about 18 years from now. So it's good. That's about how long it takes to move things municipally through.
Right. Some of those lunkheads on the council, I understand.
All right. So, and we have a wonderful singer-songwriter today. Kelly Schmitt is
wait
in the house.
Kelly, how do you say your? I said she's got to say it first.
Did I mess up Schmitt?
No. There are a lot of Schmitts out there, so we got to get Kelly her dues.
You already dropped your S-bomb, so you said
we're just getting warmed up.
You said something about Schmitt earlier. I don't know. Was that what I heard? But anyway, yes.
She's never heard that one before.
Absolutely.
So,
I've heard that a lot. That's why I go by Miss Kelly with my students.
Miss Kelly is here today.
We'll call you Miss Kelly then from now on.
That's better.
Okay, Miss Kelly, how do you pronounce your name, please?
It's Kelly Dupuy Schmitt.
See?
Oh.
Yeah.
And that sets her off from the imposter Kelly Schmitts out there. They're all over Facebook.
There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot
they're
of them
imposters. They have no talent.
We got the talent.
We got sitting right here.
We got the best one.
That's right. By far.
We are so glad you're here. Thank you for coming out to see us.
Thank you.
I appreciate
Thank you.
it.
It's wonderful to be here.
We're going to do a mixture of recorded songs with your arranger.
Yes. All right. Producer.
TFS, Terry Effin Sweet.
There we go.
Who is a show regular and favorite. And
of the Brookfield Effins, right?
That's right.
I think that's a Tosa Effin.
Tosa Effin. It's a family thing. You know, the Greeks do. So the next one, if Terry had a son, he'd have to call it Effin Terry. And they do that. They switch it every generation.
I have a son, and I call him Effin Zach all the time. Believe me.
Wow.
Zach, are you tuning in? Get back to math. It's 12 o'clock. You're supposed to be dialed into math class. All right.
Math class.
Math class.
Way to go.
I want the boy to have a career.
I want to be able to retire.
What did North Carolina guy? It's a good day to sell meth.
John Boy. He might be calling in at 12:35.
It's a good day to sell.
We're getting John Boy today too.
Well,
you didn't tell me that.
Hey, that's why I said we got to keep this moving.
I'm overdressed for that.
No, oh thank God. I'm so glad you're not underdressed. But just because there's no Facebook Live.
So yeah,
okay,
good stuff today.
We got a lot of stuff.
We do. You have to talk a lot because I have to get Kelly's songs back to the computer. I dropped them between here.
I believe you did.
I gotta get those tracks back.
Every once in a while, just grunt.
Absolutely.
All right, we're starting from the top. Mr. Bob's Under the Bridge still needs a driver. Only every third Saturday. And from about approximately 7 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., not p.m., they really need help. It's a great thing. I've said it before, you lose yourself in the service of others. And this would be a good one for anyone who has a free Saturday a month to go down and help them serve their homeless friends in Milwaukee.
It's funny whenever people say, what's it like being a co-host on the Jack Henke Show? I say, well, you lose yourself in the service of others.
All right. That mean you're going to be the driver?
Well,
all right.
Bifocal.
John, President John, I think we got one. That sucker's done.
Very powerful bifocals. I don't know if that's such a good idea.
All right. And we have our one and only sponsor, the Java House.
Good stuff today, everybody.
Excellent.
Fantastic Italian roast from Italy.
Yeah. Bulldog loves tall, dark Italians. And Doc, you got a lemonade of some kind? Is it a blueberry lemonade again?
I haven't had any yet, but it appears that way.
It looks beautiful.
Yes, it's very colorful.
And this weekend only, your outfit is perfect for this, Bulldog. $1 off any size butterbeer all weekend.
Ooh.
A Java House fall tradition. Delicious non-alcoholic butterscotch apple cider concoction inspired by...
That would be the J.K. Rowling novel Harry Potter.
Absolutely.
And the Philosopher's Stone for those of you who want to be hoity-toity.
And in addition to the special, I hear J.K. Rowling is going to be there signing books at the Java House this weekend.
They're going to throw fruit. She's got a lot of problems right now. She's got some serious PR issues.
Yeah, well, I could coach her up some. Butterbeer at the Java House,
Tasty.
among other things. Like a higa is also wonderful.
I missed that. We'll have to switch back to that now. I've been doing Italian for a few weeks. So, Lisa, if you're tuning in, higa me next week.
You look like you've been higa.
Higa me ASAP.
All right, and this is a very special big announcement for one of the extreme friends of the show, one of our all-time favorites. Is winning an award from the Cedarburg Chamber of Commerce.
Here we go.
The 2020 annual awards presentation, Thursday, November 12th. It's a virtual presentation. There's cocktails for the hoity-toity before, only if you're invited, at the Cultural Center. You know, and a lot of times these awards they're a sham, Bulldog. You know that?
I've gotten like 6 sham awards already in my life.
As you said, you always say it usually goes to the biggest local ass kisser. But... they got it right.
A title I'm going for, actually.
You'd win, hands down.
How did you know?
Cheeks down, you'd win, of course.
I can just imagine the award.
They've gotten it right sometimes. Patty Hansen was another friend of the show, was a recent winner. But
there's your phone again, Jack.
yes, I know.
Is that John?
No, not North Carolina.
All right.
This year, the award for the celebrated Cedarburg Citizen Award is going to Mel's Charity's own Rossman Rintelman.
Well deserved.
Ross is on Mel's board of directors and is an official ambassador for Mel's. And here is a message from the Ross man. Dear Mel and everyone, thank you so much for supporting me of this great honor of me getting awarded, and I can't do this without you. From Mel's Charity. That's how much it means to me. A lot. And I love that I've been doing it all these years at Mel's. This is so special. Just wanted to say a huge thank you for being there for me. Love Ross Man.
That's fantastic.
Isn't it? He is that is Ross Man. It's in his words, and it's just perfect.
He needs to come write copy for me so I can deliver better messages here.
Well, maybe
CPL
you'd be
Radio.
better liked.
That could be.
It wouldn't take much. You and JK can use him.
I need a staff. I need a full staff.
And Ross, what are you going to do with him? When is he going to? He's on this station.
He is. We were
currently
playing him
at 5 o'clock in the rotation,
which was becoming a struggle because at 5 o'clock everyone
you're
at the
lazy.
front.
You're drinking then.
The opposite. Everyone at 5 o'clock says, "I need a break. You got to cover the desk for me, Jeff." So
yeah, well, after being with you all day,
absolutely,
I completely understand it.
So we're going to move Ross to high noon o'clock.
High noon. Sounds like my smoking.
That sounds
Pope.
like your yes.
High noon mass.
So we will be putting
mass at high noon.
I think I saw that movie. Gary Cooper, right?
Yeah.
And Cheech Marin.
What about Tommy Chong?
Yes. So Ross's Thoughts, noon on CPL Radio, and we will start that on Monday.
Excellent.
Get that going. Actually, that will be Right after the Nick Sella show, who is in the building as well, taking video of. We are trying to go for a big chunky grant here for the radio station, and they want a promo vid. So I
love chunkies. Oh, you don't see those anymore.
Walgreens.
Really?
Yes.
Well, it's Halloween. We got to ask this question.
Okay,
Lesley, we're going to be 1 minute late. Doc, what's your favorite candy or candy bar?
Kit Kat.
Boy, a lot of thought.
He took mine.
I want to know.
I was all
you
set.
can't copy someone else.
Well, you caught me off guard.
On this show, it's shocking.
Yeah,
At 12
kidding.
o'clock,
That's
be
your
on guard.
That's your own fault. Suckers beware.
Snickers is manufacturing something in the last year and a half or so called the peanut butter Snickers, and it's pretty fantastic. Give it a whirl.
You put a paragraph where 2 words could have done. So
it's radio.
Snickers peanut butter.
Monosyllabic does not work on radio, Jack. I took 2 years to get you away from monosyllabic.
Miss Kelly, would you care to enter the fray? We won't. Bulldog will leave you alone and say whatever you want. You can copy someone else too. Don't worry.
Anything chocolate and peanut butter.
Like a peanut butter Snickers.
Sorry, I had to say.
You're kissing up to the wrong guy.
This one.
You're kissing up to the wrong guy. He has no power. I've got a new obsession.
Okay. Oh, really?
It used to be Baby Ruth.
That's an old man. You always accuse me of old geezer. That's an old man's candy bar.
And you know what?
What are you, 106 years old there, Henke?
Boy, where'd you get that bit? God.
Recycled.
But Baby Ruth, chocolate,
yeah,
starting to taste kind of plasticky. Isn't that? It doesn't taste chocolatey. It tastes plasticky.
I kind of like that plastic chocolate, though. I'm into that.
But wait, this is much better.
Okay.
The promise of the Baby Ruth has been restored through...
If you say mounds, I'm going to hit
No.
you.
Oh, those are great, too. Chocolate-covered paydays.
Oh, I can see
They're
that. All
fantastic.
right.
And you can get them...
The hell do you find those?
Clark Station at Cedarburg.
There we go.
King size.
Plug.
Oh my God! 2 of them for $3.33.
My molar is
my
starting to hurt. I've got this dental nightmare. This shrill.
A lot of boot camp things.
That's right. All right.
So there we go. All right. Do we got Lesley on the line?
Not yet. Almost.
All right.
I got one more thing.
All right. Keep it up.
I got this email today.
Okay.
Greetings, Reverend Henke. Oh no! Yes, it's true. And I'm reading it verbatim. Wow! It's been 3 whole months since you became ordained. Time flies when you're out there making a positive impact on the universe, huh? At this 90-day milestone, we just wanted to check in and make sure that you have all the resources you need to become your best you. Although weddings are exciting to be a part of, becoming ordained
funerals are even more fun.
Wait. Opens more doors than just being a wedding officiant. In
they
fact,
say bar mitzvahs, I'm going to be really upset.
In fact, your ordination gives you the tools to preside over all sorts of ceremonies, from baptisms to funerals to house blessings to many other types of spiritual events. Some ministers even go on to start their own churches after getting ordained by the Universal Life Church. Hallelujah!
We're sending you your first vial. We're sending you your first vial of Kool-Aid.
So you got that to look forward to.
Oh my goodness!
See, I'm religious
gracious.
too.
Wow.
And
see, he practices Jackism.
I love Jackism. I've been jackersized.
Better bring you a Bible.
You've been jacked. Nah, we don't believe in that stuff.
He has shrunk it down. He has a pamphlet.
Clip notes. I just want everyone to remind everyone what a big day it is.
Yeah. Yes.
I gotta call Lesley.
Oh yeah.
Our guest is coming, but I don't want her to think I've forgotten about her.
No, she's already calling attorneys.
I know.
She may not be a jackist. She may cease practicing jackism.
All right, you ready for her, Doc?
Phone ready for the uplink there? The Doctor of Communications.
Indeed.
Oh yeah, it sounded good.
Lesley, we did not forget about you this time at all.
Oh, well, very good.
Yes, we were just going through It's my 3-month anniversary since I became an ordained minister, and they want me to expand. They want me to start doing funerals and baptisms and such. What do you think of that? I could even start my own church.
Oh, wow.
She sounds underwhelmed.
Now wait, but I'm going to close it out with this last thing. That's why I wanted to call you, because you'll enjoy this. Did you know we have a big day next week, November 3rd? And a lot of people think it's a big day just because there's some election going on.
What's going on? I haven't heard anything about this.
Well, we are excited to unveil a brand new religious holiday.
Oh.
Universal Life Church Day. That's me, of which I'm an ordained minister. We are inviting members of the Universal Life Church Ministries, like you, Reverend Jack, to celebrate Universal Day with us by introspecting, organizing, and speaking up. What do you think?
About what?
About the good word, and about every now and then.
Oh, well, there you go. I'm for that second part. I'm also good with the first part, I guess. I like good words.
Well, welcome to the show. This is we were talking about you earlier. I'm sure you were listening, because everybody tunes in.
My ears were burning.
Yeah,
it's a feature of the show.
I asked Bulldog, why in the hell Cedarburg doesn't have a Lesley Kagen Day with a parade and everything? For God's sakes!
I cannot tell you how long I've wondered this myself.
See?
Yeah.
Reverend Jack is on your side.
I don't get it. I truly and honestly don't. I mean, we have all these festivals.
They're worthless.
We're known as the festival town.
Yes, that's it. Lesley Fest. I like it.
Lesley Fest.
There we go.
That's even better than a Lesley Kagen Day. I like Lesley Fest.
Yeah, I like that. Lesley Fest.
And it would have to be...
I'm totally on board with that.
You could ride your bike to lead the parade.
I can ride my bike and wave.
Yes.
I've got a good queen wave.
What? You could throw candy in the old days, not anymore. But what? Speaking of which,
I could have thrown candy. Now I'd have to throw something like masks.
Yes,
it's Cedarburg. Throw bratwurst.
No, that was Bulldog. Every once in a while, he injects something useless, and if we're lucky, it's only every once in a while. But
I've got more.
But we should. I mean, here you are, a New York Times best-selling author, the best writing coach that I've ever encountered, and
that's very nice, and it's probably true, because I think I've only been your writing coach. I'm the only one you've had.
No, you're so good at it. You've wiped out my memory banks of anyone preceding you. But seriously, here you are. How many novels have you written?
Every Now and Then is my 9th.
The 9th novel. Here we have a big-time novelist here in this little Hooterburg in the middle of nowhere, and nobody knows about it. Not enough people know about it. Some people do.
I'm concerned as well.
You should be.
I am.
You're on the mission. I'm gonna take Universal Life Day on November 3rd and use it for you.
A Lesley Fest?
No, it can't be in November. What day? If you could pick a day, what day would be Lesley Fest?
Oh gosh. Boy, I don't know. I'm going to have to get back to you on that. There are a couple already being, celebrated throughout the United States. So.
Well, we wouldn't want to coincide with those. We'd have to have our own here for Hooterburg.
Yeah, for sure. It's my hometown,
Oh, man. It is. It's unbelievable. And thank you for joining us today. We are here to talk about your new novel every now and then. But the other 9, I was just telling you the other day, I just finished Tess, and that's right up there. It's one of my top 5 books I've ever read, and it's just fantastic because it is touching. It's funny, and I had a writing coach once who told me that humor comes from sadness and pain. I can't remember who said that to me, but
it sounds vaguely familiar.
You always said it comes from knock-knock jokes.
So I actually said, you're misquoting me. I said whoopee cushions.
Pull my finger was my response.
He must be that otherwise writing coach you've had.
Yes. But it's amazing. You've been all over the country. You've lived in the big cities. You end up back in the burg, and you're still producing just great stuff. How do you do it?
I'm not sure what my location has to do with anything.
It doesn't, because you'd always be Lesley. But how?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't. I think that writing it's just such a huge part of me. I mean, it's just, I can't remember a time when I haven't written. So it's just a part of me. And so I will always write. I'm not sure that I'll continue the entire publishing part of it, but I will always write. I mean, it's something that I've always done. And, it's like anything that we've done for our entire lives. It's become, part of who I am and how I express myself. And I really love writing stories, mostly because I love lying. And
then you should be a politician.
Yeah. No, thank you. I can do that in the privacy. I can lie, just right here in the privacy of my living room. So I don't have to go out and about. I think that telling stories is really important. I also think everybody should write. Everybody. I think it's really good for everybody's soul. I think that you learn things through writing that you never learn by speaking or thinking. To transpose your thoughts onto paper, there's something magical that can happen. And I think everybody should write. I don't, not books. It doesn't have to be a book. It just can be anything. Get up every day, write a little something. Put down what you're feeling. I think it's a great place to put down your feelings as well as your thoughts. And I don't think that everybody should aspire to publishing a book because it's not what it seems. Let's put it that way. Publishing is very different from what people believe it's going to be. So I think that just to be able to write, the beauty of writing, I think that's sort of sacred.
I'm with you. Where did Every Now and Then come from? What started it?
Well, first of all, everybody should know in Cedarburg that it's actually the town of Summit, in which the novel is set, is actually Cedarburg. I mean, you'll all recognize some of the landmarks.
And that's, excuse me, Lesley, but that's also true in Tess. Like, there's the Rivoli and the edge of town you mentioned, which are landmark. I mean, edge of town is no more, but for a long time it was. And yet, it was Ruby Falls in Tess.
Right. Cedarburg is not a good name for a town when you're writing.
That's why I call it Hooterburg.
It's very descriptive, but it's not. I like when my writing is somewhat lyrical, and a town has to have, you have to make hundreds and hundreds and millions of decisions when you're writing a novel. And, from character names to story to plot to characterizations to settings to the descriptive passages. I mean, every word that you choose, is a decision.
I read a quote from, is it Neil Gaiman or Gaiman? How do you pronounce it?
Gaiman.
Okay, Gaiman. He said he compared writing to building a stone wall, where you put a stone in and it might not quite fit. You have to turn it a little and see if it fits, and maybe take it out and replace it with a completely new stone. And that's what he used to compare. What he compared writing to, like what you do just said about making decisions.
True. I think that for me, I mean, there tends to be ways to approach writing. It's one of these things that's extremely personal. I have friends. I have lots of writer friends. And we all there are certain things that we do the same, but there's a lot of things that we do very differently. So I think it's a very personal decision how you get those words down onto the paper. For me, it always starts with setting. This particular book, Every Now and Then, took me 3 years to write. And I'm not talking about 10 minutes a day. I'm talking 4 to 5 hours a day of writing. It was a very, very difficult book for me to write. And someone said the other day, why? I really don't know. I think it was because there are so many things going on in the story. I tend to have a lot that goes on in my books. But this story is about time, and it's about, hence the title, and it's about a lot of really sort sort of important topics and things that are extremely important to me. And I think I needed to just show really, really a lot of extra care when dealing with them. I also think that the concept of friendship is really important. And I would say that I'm not a person. I mean, the girls within the story. I mean, have you given a synopsis of the story yet?
No.
I'm not sure where you're at.
No, we just. Why don't you go ahead and fire away? I've got some reviews that I want to read of it, but if you could start with a synopsis, that would be great.
Okay.
Because I don't want to give too much away. You decide that.
Okay. Well, I think that first of all, just the basics. It's the story. The summer of 1960 in a small town in Wisconsin called Summit. And when that summer begins, there are three girls who just knocked me out. I have fallen so in love with these three characters. And they're 11, almost 12 years old. They're right at that point in their young lives where they're sort of just beginning to blossom into young womanhood, and they're, it's a very confusing time. They've been friends from almost their entire lives, and every summer they spend not in the house, not in their bedrooms. They live next to each other on the street. They spend it in what I call the Taj Mahal of hideouts, and this is a tree house in Biz's, one of the characters' backyards. And, they have very little. It was 1960, and kids back then, and I was a kid in 1960, kids back then, I mean, the kind of very, very different. We grew up pretty just running around doing whatever the heck we wanted to do whenever we wanted to do it. There were, and that sense of freedom and security that we had back then, although not true, because so much of what goes on these days is exactly the same stuff that went on back then, only we didn't know about it.
Right.
I just that complete freedom. It's also, there's also a heat wave going on, which keeps this a little bit different this summer from the other summers. Weather is also an important part of my stories usually, as well as just the feel of my books have to have a very, very, very particular feel. I like to think that if you picked up one of my books, you will know that I'd written it. And it's just got, I like to bring as much authenticity as I can to the story. And what happens this summer is very different for the girls than what's happened every other summer. They're dealing with some, at first it all seems, pretty copacetic. Such a great word, one of my favorite words. And they started off with a list of what they intend to, accomplish that summer. Go see horror movies at the Rivoli, hang out at the drugstore to get the gossip, and generally just, kid stuff. One of their priorities is visiting the patients at the Broadhurst Mental Institution. This is a kind of I don't know that I told anybody else this. And maybe you guys would know what this place was, but that big abandoned building on Lakefield Road? Sort of at the corner of Lakefield and sort of near the railroad track, closer to town.
Closer to town.
Yeah, it's a big abandoned building. It looks like a factory or something. And it's kind of scary. And it started, it was sort of every time I'd see that building, I'd think, man, that is creepy. That reminds me of an old school mental institution. And I was very fascinated with the topic of mental health as a child because I was allowed to see way, way, way too many movies. There weren't any ratings back then. And the girls as well, the characters, Liz and Frankie and Viv, they're fascinated by 50s horror movies, who I know Jeff shares a passion. I have a passion about that time in those old school horror movies. And the girls start out, there's a certain stuff that goes on during that summer, and one of them, it starts to happen at the Broadhurst Mental Institution when things really start to go off track. And stuff happens that they never would have thought in a million years could happen in sleepy little Summit. And that's sort of the general idea of what's happening. But there are a lot of other things that go on in the story too. There's, it's funny because kids are naturally funny. And so if I'm, writing it correctly, there should be some stuff going on between them. There's a power struggle going on within the three girls, and we don't figure out why until later on in the story. There is romance. There's romance going on with Aunt Jean May. And there's all sorts of stuff, topics, and I address racism, and I address what life is like in a small town, and I address mental health. And other stuff that's important, but instead of coming at it, face on, I think just living it and watching the girls live it is probably the most impactful way to present stuff like that. It seems to me that there are huge similarities between 1960 and even the 50s and mid-60s, between then and now. I mean, in so many ways, we should be a lot further than we are.
You mean now and then?
Now and then. We're just, we should be a lot further than we are.
Yeah.
In a lot of different areas. And that's, I think probably was the genesis of maybe some of the ideas. I don't always know why. I jump in, I get a setting, I start to get a feel for the voices of the characters, and then I just sort of jump in and see what the hell happens.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I started it right after Tess. I'm just starting to get into it. Jeff, you've read the whole
cover to cover,
and
it's their best. I mean,
it's
I think
not better
it's
than Tess. Nothing. You may tie Tess, but it's not better.
I think we're gonna fight over that. That's good.
You're getting rave reviews everywhere, but a couple things, as usual, when you speak, you always make me want to ask 3 more questions for everyone you answer, and one of them is storytelling is your way to do it. And it's interesting now that another thing about today's world is that storytelling is now all the rage. In marketing, they say, don't just throw facts at them, tell a story. And you're bringing up important subjects, but instead of preaching it, you're telling a story about it, and it's much, much, much more impactful that way, especially with the skill.
You. I mean, I think that, that's just like for all of us, right? I mean, I think that when we experience something, and hopefully if I'm doing my job and I'm pulling you into the story, these things will feel very important to you, that I'm writing about. And there's stuff that's crucial to me. Crucial things that are, and I've covered them to some degree. I was thinking this the other day in most of my stories. And I guess I didn't really realize that until I started to look at all the different stories and think about, I guess this is, something. I think you'll find that the more you read a particular author, you'll start to see that they'll sort of come back to the same stuff that's maybe at the heart of who they are or what's important to them.
Yes.
So yeah. It's important.
And interesting what you just said, pull them in. And one of my review, and I had to stop myself during the thing, I was like, damn, it's so good and so skillfully done that I feel like I'm not reading a book. I just feel like all of a sudden I'm part of something.
Oh, that's like, thank you very much. That's like the greatest compliment ever. To be able to, when I think when you write, I mean, it's the difference between, I'm a huge movie person as well. So between movies and books, there's a difference in storytelling. I mean, when you go to a movie, you're supplied with certain things. A setting and costumes and soundtrack that help you visualize and believe the story a lot easier than you can in books most of the time because you're only given the words. So as a writer, it's your job to make that feel as wonderful and as lush and as complete as you possibly can by putting stuff down on the page that brings the reader's own imagination into play so that they then become part of the story. It's so fascinating to me. I've done hundreds of book clubs. And when we sit around and we're talking, the stuff that readers take from it are always reflective of who they are as people. You know, if you ask them to describe a certain character, they'll come up with something very different from one another often, or it will jog some part of their memory or bring something about them to the page. I think that the engagement of the reader within a story, like I could never, almost all my stories are written in first person. I think that when you write in first person, it really does pull people in more than if you're writing in third person. So I think that's also part of it. It's just, what's important to me, and that's, I think that at the heart of writing is to write what's important to you, what's meaningful to you, what you can feel proud of, and what satisfies you as a reader. I mean, I write the kind of stories that I like to read pretty much.
Yeah, and that plays off another quote. I honestly can't remember who to attribute this to, but it's basically, the more you try to write for many people, the less people it'll reach. But if you write for yourself, you will reach an incredible amount of people. Well, I think we all have things in common. I think we're all very different, but I think that there's, at the heart of all people, there's like an invisible thread that connects all of us. And I think that there are things that are important to everyone, I can't say everyone, but to most everyone. Mm-hmm. And I think that thread that connects us is something that's sort of very spiritual, and it connects all of us. And so when we jump into a story, and if I'm telling you how I feel and how these characters feel, and these characters are expressing things, they have to feel very, very true. I'm sure we've all read books, we've picked it up, and you've thought, I don't know. This really isn't working for me. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing with stories as well. It can be about where you are at a particular time in life. It could be the writer's view is just not a view that you can relate to. So there's so much that goes into writing. There's so much that goes into it. And I enjoy that. I enjoy just sitting there being extremely perplexed, going, well, my God, what's going on here? And where is this going? And what's happening with these girls? So I like the challenge of that. So, yeah, I mean, writing is, it's telling a story so it feels very real to me. But it might not be the same thing. I don't think it's the same way for John Grisham, for instance. He writes very plot-driven stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, everybody is, sort of drawn to certain kinds of stories, I think. Well, the way you hearing your passion talking about writing, it's obvious to me why your stories come across so real, because it comes through in what you write. And it's fantastic. In fact, I will say another compliment that I will give you is, no one who ever is on a diet should ever read one of your books, because the food is always so damn good sounding. I just got to the chapter on a Sunday dinner, and every now and then where they're having Southern fried chicken, yes. And she talks about the mashed potatoes that she just folded some sour cream into. I was like, oh my God. And then even string beans sound good, for God's sakes. So you're a devil. Basically,
I like food.
You're a devil and I'm a minister. I know a devil when I see one. So I'm calling you one.
I like food, and the girls talk about food a lot.
Oh my God, it's terrible.
Who's such a candy lover, and then when they go over to the other side of the tracks into Mudtown, the food is very different over there. So there's some cultural stuff that goes on that I'm not aware of ever happening in Cedarburg. So that's the thing about writing. I can just take stuff that I experienced as a kid, or when my daughter went to school down south, so I spent a lot of time in Virginia. So I got to get a really deep sense of Southern living. And so Aunt Jane May is based on my experiences for that time, with that time of my life. I think that for me, I admire people who can write novels about, 16th century Paris. I'm not that kind of writer. I have to have experienced something deeply in order to write about it, in order for it to feel very real to me and for me to get any satisfaction out of it.
Well, it's fantastic.
Because at the end of the day, that's it. You know?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can write stories. I can write lovely stories, and they can, some people may not feel the same way, there are lots of different kinds of people in the world, and lots of stuff happens once that book gets out in the world. And I think that some books might sell, some books might not sell, and that at the end of the day, I have to have this deep, deep sense that this time that I've spent putting the story on the page means something to me, and that I'm proud of it. And I am.
Well, you should be. It's fantastic. And
Thank you.
where can people learn about it, find it? Where is it for sale? What's
You can
easiest?
pick it up at the library.
Okay.
Number one, for people, any library pretty much.
That's no good. You got to buy it. Right? Independent bookstore? I'm sorry, I was talking.
Yeah, independent bookstores anywhere, online anywhere. I mean, it's truly available everywhere. So, anywhere you want to pick it up, there it'd be. And it would be cool if people, I mean, it doesn't matter really, I mean, I guess, but I mean, I'm a big lover of independent bookstores. And so many of them, as so much everything else is in the world right now, are on shaky ground. So I tend to buy my books at different indie bookstores, and they will send them to me. And I know that not only can I look forward to getting a great book, but I'm also helping an indie store stay open. I don't think we want to lose that culture. We do not. We don't want to turn into nothing but online people. So everybody, it's available everywhere. If you can't, if you don't know an indie, or there's a great one in Milwaukee, Boswell Books. My favorite bookstore in the whole world is Saturn Booksellers in Michigan, who is mentioned in the book. And I mean, I just go and read it. There's also the audio versions, and the voice actress who did them, I think, did a really great job. So it's everywhere.
Great. Well, it should be. And thank you very much for joining us. I wish you would be on time for once. And let's try and get that straight.
I'm working on it, Jack. I'm working on it.
Any last words of advice for Jeff about trick or treating or anything?
Oh gosh, no, just a huge hug.
Oh God.
Thank you, Lesley.
You never hugged me.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, but there's a reason why for that, Okay.
I'm too muscular. You're afraid.
You got cooties, man. Okay.
Don't eat the candy.
Cooties. We're back in the 60s now.
Yeah. You got cooties.
All right,
hey,
sister.
Did you ever? I never thought really that when I grew up that the biggest thing I'd be worried about at this age in my life was cooties.
Yes, the cootie virus is everywhere right now. We have to be very careful.
Cootie virus.
Cootie 19.
Yes.
Oh yeah, one thing I do want to say while I have this time, I wish everybody would wear a mask. That's what I want to say, so that I can stop driving around town getting kicked off at everybody who isn't.
You heard it here first, Cedarburg.
Yeah, you better watch out. The mask lady.
Mask up or you'll wind up in one of her books.
I'm the mask police. I'm this close to getting a megaphone and driving up and down.
You don't need one.
Yeah. And yelling at passerby. Okay. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks
today.
a lot. No, thanks a lot. It was great having you, and keep them going. They're fantastic. And
so let me know about Lesley Fest, okay?
The plans are underway. I got the smoking. I got the smoking Pope on it.
Okay, floats, the whole thing. I want everything.
Floats. All right. Take care.
Okay.
Thank you very much. You're fantastic.
Take care, guys.
All right.
Thank
Take care.
you.
Thank you, Lesley.
Bye.
Every Now and Then is the name of the book. Available everywhere, like she said. I got the list here. You can do IndieBound. You can do Saturn Booksellers, Boswell here in Milwaukee, or you can even do Amazon if you have to go that route. That's fine.
Great reviews on Amazon.
Doing very well. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So Crooked Lane Books is the publisher, and we have 2 copies here at the library, one in our hot picks and one in our new release section, and they're both out. So come on down and get it when you can.
Well, speaking of hot picks, it's almost Kelly time.
Well, we have to do a little bit of business here. Actually, I'm going to play one of her tracks as we go out to break. song called Ahead of Us. I'm sure you're familiar with that one.
Do you want to
Anything we need to know about that one?
No, just play it.
We're going to roll it. Okay, I like
Shut
that.
up and
All
play
right. We're playing Ahead of Us. I'm going to take care of all of our commercials at once, so it'll be 4 minutes of commercials. We'll come back, we'll have some live music. It's the Jack Henke Show.